This meeting is being recorded. Okay, continue. Hello, my little Luxes. Welcome to another episode of Little Channel of Horrors. I am Charcy Lux. I am a closet cosplayer, and with me is my best friend, my partner in crime.
I miss the boobs. DC. No. There they are.
There they are.
There they are.
There
All
they
right.
are.
That's what we need. That's where it is. That's the good stuff.
Problem is, there. Anyway, whatever.
Yes, it's a good one.
I mean, boobs are fitting for this episode because this
Yes.
episode is one of both of our favorites. We love this film. We're also dedicating this to one of your buddies,
My buddy
the
Rich.
dedication.
Which let's see, what time is it? It is 4 on a Saturday. We film on Saturday, we post on Sunday. So he should be just about in Chicago right now.
So he's in my neck of the woods.
He is. I told him that too. It's like, she lives in
like 3 hours away from Chicago. That's funny. That's
dude.
funny.
Yeah, he's like talking about the 9-hour drive and shit. But he's my buddy. He plays on the hockey team I go see all the time. He's got this nasty slap shot. It's funny. It's like whenever he plays and he winds up for the slap shot, you see people just diving out of the way because it's so just nasty. It's great. He's like one of the best hockey players I know personally. So he's a good dude, and he's been asking us to do this for a while. So Return of the Living Dead, all about Rich. Oh yeah.
Return of the Living Dead, probably one of my number one favorite zombie movies of all time too.
Yes. I mean, it's canon. It's a canon sequel to Night of the Living Dead. Like this is one of the things about the movie people don't really know. Like this is actually canon Night of the Living Dead sequel. There are 2 different timelines, and this is actually one of them. It's very cool because what's his name that worked with Romero? Not Dan O'Bannon actually directed this, and he directed Alien, and he's directed so much good stuff. I think he directed so much crap. Return of the Living Dead, Alien, just he's killing it. But the guy that helped George Romero write Night of the Living Dead, they had a little dispute on which way they wanted to go, and Romero, being the peaceful guy he is, he's like, okay, I'll keep the dead, you keep the living dead. And this guy went on to make Russo. His name is Russo. Yes, Russo. He went on to make Return of the Living Dead, and George Romero went on to make Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead came first, of course, but Return of the Living Dead was actually written in 79, but didn't actually get made until 1985. So,
yep,
very cool. Canon. Yes.
And the backstory with this was, of course, it's like you said, supposed to be going with the original Night of the Living Dead, and that even though they had full permission, that they weren't having copyright issues or anything, they had permission to make this film. But of course, in Hollywood, they still had to deal with lawsuits, even though they had full permission to do this. So it's like, I can't imagine having to still go to court and deal with this, even though they had full disclosure to do it. So
yeah, I mean, and it kind of sort of shot him in the foot because the first director signed on to direct this movie was Tobe Hooper. Poltergeist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all that. And because it took so long, he stepped out, and Dan O'Bannon stepped in. And I mean, I'm kind of glad on that though, because I don't think Tobe Hooper could hit the comedy notes that this hit.
No,
like it's just a phenomenal film. I mean, there's little subtle crap in here that's just like mind blowing, like the what is it, the eye chart in the background when they're talking in the office. There's an eye chart in the background, and the eye chart does not do the IE. It says Bert is a slave driver and a son of a bitch that is going bald. It's like, great, because Bert is their boss. So it's like it's just all these little subtle things. It's so good, so good. And I simp over Trash. Trash is my girl.
Who
Oh my
doesn't
god.
simp over Trash? I mean, Lynette Quigley. I mean, who
Quickly.
doesn't just simp on her in general? And
Oh,
she's just so amazing in real life too. And
yes.
just listening to her stories and when she explains things, I'm like, God, she's adorable.
Yes.
And but yeah, uh,
Um,
we could simp on Trash the whole episode, I'm sure. So,
the whole cast. I mean, you have an
God,
actual
yes.
porn star in this movie. Jules
Mhm.
Shepard was a porn star, and she plays a role of someone who keeps her clothes on the entire time, and she is the blue-haired goth girl.
Mhm.
And she's so good in this. And then, of course, I would be I would be wrong to not mention Miguel, Miguel Torres, because me and Laszlo, we simp over this guy. Like, I
Spider is
love
perfect for
him.
him.
God, I love him. And
Mhm.
there's so oh my God, what he was in Friday 13th 5. Um
Yes, I
probably one
think
of
it
the
was the
worst
fifth one.
ones. Probably one of the worst ones. And he was not written into the script. Demon was not supposed to be in that movie, but they needed another kill. So they added Demon, Reggie the Reckless's brother. And he has that very famous scene where he's in the bathroom singing, "Ooh, baby, hey, baby." It's like, and then his girlfriend's completely singing it off key and off tempo. "Ooh, baby,
Mhm.
hey, baby." Yeah. But he actually, fun fact about that, he actually owns the rights to "Ooh, baby, hey, baby."
Because of that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
But in this movie, he was homeless when they made this movie. He was
Yes.
full blown homeless.
He didn't
So
tell
this,
anyone either.
yeah. And then another part was the main character. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name.
Oh,
The
the one
main,
that played Tina. What
yes,
is the actress's name? I'm so bad. Beverly
yes.
Randolph.
She is wearing Miguel's clothes. Miguel, she
His
needed
original
clothes.
outfit.
Yes,
Yep.
the original
Hmm.
outfit was Miguel's clothes, and that's
But she
like,
didn't feel comfortable in the plastic skirt.
yeah, and it's just
Mhm.
like it's what he wore in the movie compared to what she was wearing. Like, that's what Miguel actually wears, and it's
Mhm.
so cool. There's so much just great shit to this movie.
Little
I
things.
love
Yeah.
this movie. Oh,
Well, I want to touch back on Jewel. What is her
Jill
last
Shepard.
name? The one that was the thank you, that was the porn star.
Yes,
She originally was hired to be Trash.
he
Now
was supposed to be
Trash's
trash.
character,
Yeah.
yes, Trash's original character's name was Legs.
Legs.
So before Lynette got it, so you had Legs, who
Mhm.
became Trash. But yeah, for whatever reason, well, I mean, Dan was at a strip club and that's how
Yeah,
he
that's how
discovered
he
her. And
discovered Jewel.
yeah, and he wanted her to be that character. Well, as soon as she got into the thing, she's like, Can I audition for the party girl? She's like, I'd like to not be nude. Although she,
For
to
once
this
in my
day
life.
now, she jokes about it. Yeah, she'll
Yes.
joke about it now and say, Oh, well, you didn't get to see me naked.
Yeah. For once in my life, I would like to not be nude. No, it's
Mhm.
like if you haven't seen the making of Return of the Living Dead, it is phenomenal. I think it's called Brains, and it is
Mhm.
just phenomenal. You get everyone, you get everyone in this interviews with Kluge Luger, all of them, and what's his name that played Tommy Jarvis. Then I'm blanking on his name. I have a headache. I'm sorry, y'all. I have a really bad headache, so I'm having
The
trouble.
one who played Tommy?
That played Tommy Jarvis in the sixth movie of Friday 13th. He
Oh,
played
oh, oh.
the lead character here. Yeah,
So you
I'm
had
like
Bert, who was by Clue.
Kluge Luger is plays Bert.
Yeah,
Um,
Frank James Karen,
that he
which, oh
is
my God,
the
he is so
best.
amazing in this movie too. Oh my
He's
God,
such
yeah.
like a almost like a sleazeball, but not a
Mhm.
sleazeball. He's so
Mhm.
great. Like I can't
Um,
remember his name. Like I like my
Don,
headache. It's actually causing my eyes to kind of close. Uh,
oh, my light die. Oh, did my
I think
cat
you got
eat
a
it?
demon in there.
I think
So
so.
um
Well, my husband did accidentally step on it, so I'm hoping that didn't
see
mess it up.
I'll find it. But anyway, the guy, that's another Friday the 13th link we have. Is there is this actor's in Friday 13th and this, and also Miguel was in Friday 13th and this. It's Tom Matthews. Tom Matthews is his name. He plays Freddy. Tom Matthews is our lead, our final boy, if you will, even though he's not really final. There is no
I was gonna say,
final.
you keep going, I'll be back.
Yeah. No, it's all good. She's got to fix it. But the final, there is no final anybody in this because of the ending. But Tom Matthews is great in this movie. Like, so good. As the new guy who just is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, it's great. But that would lead me to the practical effects of this movie. The half dogs, which is awful.
Split dogs.
The split dogs,
which would be so creepy in real life.
Oh my god, that's awful. It's so awful. Tarman, of course, you can't go through this movie without talking about Tarman. Well, you also can't go through this movie without talking about suicide and these clothes, it's a way of life. Classic.
Every single cast member had nothing but like positive things to say about him. I can't think of the actor's name right now. 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second.
Trash is taking off her clothes again.
Mark Venturini, and 6'6", tall, but everyone says he was a giant teddy bear.
And
yes, back to the scene you were talking about.
And Mark Venturini actually is another one. It's another one that was in Friday the 13th. He was in the one with Miguel. He played the guy who axed the fat kid.
Oh,
that was Mark Venturini.
Yes. Oh my god, it was, wasn't it?
Yes. Suicide is Mark Venturini, and it's like he didn't really do a whole lot of movies, so it's awesome. Like,
well, he passed away young, leukemia, unfortunately. Leukemia. So, as we always say, fuck cancer. Yes. But yeah, I don't think there's a bad character in this entire film.
I mean, you could argue that Trash's acting is bad, but I don't think so. I think it's her character. Her character is like that because Miss Quigley is not a bad actress. Like, it's just her character is very disturbed. She's a disturbed individual, and so whenever she does her little "do you ever fantasize about how you want to die" kind of thing, it's like a lot of people sometimes say, "Oh, that's just bad acting." Like, no, that's good acting. she's very just disturbed, and it's, I don't know. And I mean, we have, but anyway, the back to the practical effects in her nudity. You were texting me about that, and I'm like, yeah, I know about that, but I ain't telling that one. That's on you.
You want me to tell that story?
Yes, you get the nudity. You get the nudity trivia because it's funny.
Well, I mean, this happens in a lot of films, because I mean, it even happened in Life Force with her nudity scenes and that, where it's like they're so particular about the pubic area, and it's like anything that has to do with the genitals. And of course, she's fully nude. She does her strip scene, which they said that is like the scene where everybody is just so enchanted by it. But I mean, if you watch the scene and you see what Trash's character does, oh my god, it's so good. But the first time she had done it, I can't remember if it was a producer or who it was that came onto the set and was like, oh my god, you can't show pubic hair on a film. So they had to take her and shave her. Then they do the film again, and then they're like, oh, now we can see everything. Well, we can't do that. And it's like, well, no shit, Sherlock. If you're gonna shave off the hair, you're gonna see everything. So they literally had to make a prosthetic, basically like a Barbie doll looking vagina that she had to wear for the scene, which is exactly why it looks the way that it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
oh my God.
I have it in 4K, or not 4K, but I have no. It's a
Well, you could have it in 4K.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
can see you
a
having it in
transfer.
4K.
But when you watch it in like really high definition, it does. You're sitting here like, okay, yeah, you can see that. Because on a VHS, you wouldn't be able to see it as much. But this is like, you can clearly see it's just smooth as a Barbie. And you're just like, she has no vagina.
It's like, oh, there's no definition technically actually there. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we have talking zombies in here.
The first concept of that zombie needs brains in order to live.
The first time it's ever explained why zombies eat people.
Yeah.
And what is like, this whole movie's funny. It's kind of a comedy. It is a horror movie, but it's kind of a comedy. But the scene when they strap down the half zombie and the zombie explains why they eat people is actually quite horrifying. You're like, oh, that sounds awful, because they can feel themselves rotting. And the brains, when they eat the brains, it takes away the pain of decaying. And it's like, that is horrifying to think about. And these zombies are very sentient, so they know what's going on. And it's just, I can't imagine. So it's awful. Yeah.
Where it is that concept of, oh dear God, do you really want to be this kind of a zombie? Because it's like all they feel is nothing but pain. They have self-consciousness or self-awareness that they literally can feel themselves rotting away. And it's like, ooh.
Unkillable. Like these aren't shoot them in the heads and they're dead zombies. These guys are unkillable. Send more paramedics.
Except for the cremation.
If cremation works.
Send more paramedics.
Send more.
I guess that was kind of an impromptu scene from what I was seeing, and that the guy just kind of decided and kind of added to the comedy aspect. So
yes, it is a completely ad-libbed thing. Just send more paramedics. So I love it. I do. This is, I mean, another kind of horrifying thing. I can't believe I almost glanced over it. That Freddy and his buddy are still alive, are dead. They are completely dead. And
we don't realize that almost the whole movie, they are technically dead.
They're dead. They have no pulse. Their body temperature's down. And what I found horrifying, what I found horrifying about it was they could feel rigor mortis. Like that was just, I mean, whenever he lifts his arm, you just hear it cracking, and you're like, that's the one time I've watched a horror movie and just been like, ugh, that's just no. But such a great freaking film, though. I mean, all of it. So
think about how in depth they went with it, because how many hours later it would be when you would actually experience rigor mortis.
Yes.
And for their bodies to be going as sick as what they were. But yeah, that is a petrifying thought of knowing that you are technically dead and that they can't even move.
The pooling of the blood, when they had that, because they were sitting down so long, all their blood was pooling because it isn't flowing through the body. And it's like, even that is just, God, dude, just
the little details.
It was. I mean, it's a great movie. I mean, the sequels are, but like,
I've never seen the sequels. Now that I'm thinking about it, which is weird, because usually if there's movies that I should. Yeah. Usually if anything has any kind of a franchise, I must watch them all.
Yes.
This one is one of the few that I haven't seen the entire franchise of it. So
you would adore 3. Yeah, you would.
Because of the main character. Yeah.
Well, it's because it's cheesy. It's cheesy, but it's cheesy in an awful way. It's not like, oh, that's just stupid. It's just really cheesy, but like, wow, that's actually kind of inventive. The second one is really weird because it says it's rated R, but when it first came out, it was rated PG-13. Like it was Yeah. I don't know why it's rated R now, because there's really not a whole lot
How
of
they changed
violence.
it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of violence to it, and it's essentially just kind of a rehash of the first one. In fact, Tom Matthews and I'm having another brain edit, his buddy, are in it again. They're in part two, but they're completely different parts. They're grave robbers in this one, and they're the reason why the whole thing happens. So it's
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I do eventually need to get around and watch it. So,
They're kind of hard to
um,
find. So
but God, I like we keep saying, it's like the just how much impromptu stuff they even added as well was Clue's character who played Bert. He was the only one that was kind of added in. It's actually something else I can bring up is that what was so amazing about this film and all the cast talk about it is that for 2 weeks before they started filming, they actually got to do rehearsals together.
yes.
So they all got to get used to
Yes.
each other, figure out their characters and that. The only unfortunate person that he didn't get to do it with them
Yeah.
was Bert. And it was one of those
Clue.
things where Clue.
His name's hard to say.
Well, I'm also trying to remember who originally was supposed to have his part, but it didn't
Leslie
work out.
Nielsen. Leslie
Yes,
Nielsen was
thank
supposed
you.
to play the role of Bert, but it would have cost more than the movie's budget to get Leslie Nielsen to play that.
Oh God, yeah.
So
Oh God, yeah.
he stepped out.
And especially back at that point in time. And so they brought him in. So everybody else kind of had this advantage. So he kind of would just feel out and do certain things. But one of the scenes was when they were at the morgue trying to get the body or the chopped up zombie pieces into the cremation. And when the guy's asking, like, what is this? Why do I have to burn these things? And on the spot, I guess he came up
Rabid
with
weasels.
the rabid weasels.
Rabid weasels.
So the actor Don's reaction is real, where he's like, rabid weasels? What?
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 It's a testament to Clue's acting ability. He's in a ton. If people don't know who Clue Galuger is, you need to look up his filmography, because he's in a ton of movies and a lot of horror. And his comedic timing in that is perfect. He's like, why do we need to burn these? They're rabid weasels. Oh God, that was so good.
But yeah.
Rabid weasels.
But that's why you have that chemistry between all the other characters, that they had been together working and creating these characters together. And every single one of them afterwards have even said, like, years later, all these other films they had done, they're like, the opportunities that they got to do with that one to this day is still their favorite memories and the favorite films they've made, which is really cool.
Oh yeah. It's I don't know, and even the friends, like, even though they were always at each other's throats, like it even, you could tell they were kind of close. I mean, it was awesome. So it's just, I mean, the car he drives, the freaking rain, the acid rain, then the freaking top taking forever to come up, and Trash's skin burning. It's like, it's burning my skin. It's like, so good. Like, and she gets to become a zombie and become probably the most beautifully shot zombie thing I've seen during the time. Because I'm sure there's shots in Dawn of the Dead that would blow me away. Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead has a shot that I still to this day just like talk about how beautiful a shot it was. But the shot of Trash coming through the night fog, and the song playing in the background, that's a stripper song, and she's just walking all sexual, and it's like the sexiest walk ever, and she's just walking through the fog, and then bam, you see her face, and you're like, oh shit. And she eats the dude's head, or eats the dude's neck, and you're like, this is great. Like, this is just, I think I saw this movie when I was like 10. And I'm like, this is the best movie ever. Like, it just does not get enough credit. Like,
no, it does not.
I would almost say out of this is what 13th episode. Like this is probably my favorite movie we've ever watched, and that includes Nightmare on Elm Street. So I'm
Yeah.
like, this is just I love this movie. Like it's funny, it's scary, the practical effects are wonderful.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can't.
Including Trash's zombie face, the
Yes,
one where they had the jaw would even
jaw protruding.
open and like keep open when she bite. But yeah, she talks about how much she loved that scene and that she's like, I got to be all sexy with, and she goes, I exaggerated the walk. Apparently, I'm just gonna keep losing that light.
You got demons.
And well, it kind of is overheating because if I touch it, it's like really, really hot to the touch. So I'm not sure what's going on
That's
and why
okay.
it's overheating.
I can turn off my light and we can have equal lighting. Hold on, check this out. There you go. Equal lighting. But see,
Yeah, I
I look
mean,
terrifying in that light, so I can't do that.
so I'm thinking that the outlet is going out, which that's what I need in my house.
Yeah. So we get to talk about a cool movie though. I mean, oh, and let's not forget one of my favorite things in horror besides little details is bleak endings. And this is as
Hmm.
bleak as it gets.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I mean, this is not like the Mist bleak ending, but it's pretty fucking bleak. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
almost
they
about as bleak as they come.
yes. They spend the whole entire movie trying to figure out how to stop all these zombies. Hey, let's call the number on the tank where we got this from. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie from 1980 fucking 5,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, they find the barrel, they call the army, they're like, yeah, this is the army.
What
Yes.
do you think the government would do if you could
Hmm.
do that?
Really? Okay. Well, we'll send help as soon as possible. Click.
Mhm.
Yes, Mr. President, we found the barrel that's been missing. What are we going to do? Bomb the place? Okay. And they send an
Okay.
atomic bomb.
Mm.
It's like, he's like, how many? And they do it. Boom, you know, and you see a lot of people like, oh, it's like, we want brains. And then you see the white flash, and you're like, okay. And then it's like, the worst dialogue ever because it's so horrifying. How many casualties? Oh, a few 100,000. You're like,
Mhm.
oh my God. Any fallout?
Just a
No,
few.
no
Just a
fallout.
few.
Yeah, they say any fallout. No, no fallout at all. And then you see the rain come and
Hmm.
you see the dead rising again. And it's like, you just
Hmm.
damned the whole world. It's like,
Hmm.
bleak ending. I love it. Like, yes, the bad guys win. That is my favorite thing in the world. So,
I guess they should have done it Army of the Dead style and just quarantined it.
oh God. Phew.
But yeah,
It's
it's
exhausting.
such a good film. And yeah, I think even some of the characters when they said that they what when they got to watch the movie, they were like, with the bleak ending, how they felt about it, because some of them wanted the happy ending, but it's like, it's a horror film.
Yeah.
You don't really get a lot of happy endings in horror films.
Well, you have a like a wink wink nudge nudge moment at the beginning where it is on the screen. It says based on real events. You're like, what? And
Huh?
they explain it, which is what makes it a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. Hey, you ever seen that movie Night of the Living Dead? Well, it's a
Mhm.
true story and it happened right down the road and we've got one of the zombies. You're like, what? Yeah, well, it didn't really happen. They didn't really get up and start eating people. They just kind of vibrated. Just like, this is ridiculous and stupid, but it
Mhm.
is glorious because it works. It's like, it's believable. I mean,
Mhm.
geez, like I love it. So
Well, and the fact that they used a real actor to
yeah,
play Tar, the Tar zombie, or Tar Man, I guess is what they would dub him. And they basically found a puppeteer and they said that he had to be like extremely thin and able to move and be able to have all this extra stuff added to his body and just how creepy his because the face actually wasn't his head. He had on a fake head that would move and had the mechanical parts to it. And
You
they
have
they
the
purposely, yes, they said they purposely made it to where nobody would actually see him until it was their part to finally see him for the first time on film. So their surprised, shocked faces are authentic and literally what the first reactions are when they're seeing him. So I
yes.
thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the first time you see Tarman, you see his face up close, and he just says brains, and you're like, "Whoa!" And then the camera back, and you see the black gooiness and his sauntering that is just, it's contortionist almost, because he's bending back and he's like moving, and you're just like, "Oh, this is crazy."
Just how good he could just maneuver his body, so it was just so creepy. And oh, and the gooiness was KY jelly. So
And you know why they use KY jelly? Because that's what they use to cover the
mm-hmm.
xenomorphs and aliens. So Dan O'Bannon knows how to use KY jelly.
Mm-hmm. Make it look gross and gooey.
And poor Suicide bites it. Oh, and you have the worst friend zone relationship in this movie. Poor guy, he's just wanting that punk chick, and she's just like, "I really hate you," and it's like, oh
Hold me.
yeah, like, oh man. I mean, geez, man, suicide has the worst. This is a way of life. It's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Which they flat out said that this guy was intimidating and everything, and the leather and the chains. I mean, 6'6".
Yes. Big guy.
I would feel intimidated too.
Yeah. And then, like, I think they were talking about, I forgot what I was watching. It may have been Crystal Lake Memories. I have that 6-hour documentary about Friday the 13th, and it's like they talk about him in that movie, and when he chopped the candy bar in half, and he's like, and what's his name? Oh my god, the big kid's name, I can't remember right offhand. Where he's like,
either.
He's like, "I think you're way out of line." You know, and he was like, they were talking about how they couldn't do that because dude was laughing so hard at the, like, he's such a teddy bear, like, it's just I think you're way, Vic was the big guy's name. "I think you're way out of line, Vic."
Out of line.
Yeah. And but the big guy, I mean, not the fat guy, the big guy that used the axe to chop up the big guy. The fat guy, I can't remember his name at all. Like, and he's like just one of the worst characters. But he's the sole reason. But yeah, that's good. But I mean, it's just the whole acting, that's all good. I love it. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't remember what we were saying, exactly what we were saying about
our real life events.
Yeah, I can't remember.
You came up with the idea of nightmare jobs, or that it could be a couple things. It could be like, what is either the worst job you've ever had, or like the worst thing that happened while you were on a job, or certain situations. I mean, technically it could be a couple different stories too, because I mean, I'm sure you've got a ton, because you had mentioned that before too.
Yeah, because I got like me and Brandon being in the back of this grocery store, jumping off cardboard boxes, putting well, actually, I've got pictures of it. Actually, he's got like his apron on backwards, and he's jumping off cardboard boxes with his apron flying behind him like Superman. And like, we used to do stupid shit. But I don't know. I know my buddy Wes used to get, like, every Thanksgiving he would get on the intercom on the grocery store and go, "Happy Thanksgiving, gobble gobble." And like, the manager was like, "Who did that?"
That's not nightmare jobs though.
No, I'm saying I'm doing like good stuff, because I do, like, even at nightmare jobs, I always found a way to make it fun. Like, I worked at a call center. You don't get much more nightmare than that.
Especially with customers.
Yes. And I would answer the phone as like Christopher Walken, or
oh my god,
or in an Australian accent, or in a British accent, or something like that. And they were like, as long as you do the entire call in said accent, you can do it. and then so I'd keep it going. But it's like I always found some way to make it fun, you know. But it's like only nightmare situation I could think of is me and Wes, like we were bored at the grocery store and we like had a little bouncy ball that we got and we would like throw it down the cereal aisle. It had to hit the ground and then bounce up, and we would see how many boxes of cereal we could knock off. like doink. Yeah, and we're like, we did this. It was for hours. I guess the nightmare situation though is Wes bounced it a little too hard and it like bounced up and hit the sign and the sign fell. And it was just like crash. And he's like, oh shit. And then we're over there like on the computer, like, yeah, we're over here doing our job. That's what we're doing. It's like they never caught us.
We didn't do anything.
Yeah, they never caught us.
Did they really not?
No, we did so much stupid. They knew it was us because we were the dumb ones. We were like everyone was over here working as a bagger or going to get carts or something like that. And we're over here in video just talking about movies all day. Like that's all we did. And I mean, I really can't think of a full-blown nightmare situation. I've had to pierce babies' ears. Like that's kind of a nightmare.
Oh,
I mean,
the poor babies. Yeah. I mean, I understand why some moms do it because then once they're done, it's easier. They never have to go through it again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're living in an age of consent. I feel like a child should be a certain age to consent to it first.
I got it. Nightmare situation.
You got it now.
GameStop. There was a dude.
Oh God, that sounds like a bad job.
Yes, it was horrible. There was a dude that used to come in, and when I'm not exaggerating at all, but you could be sitting there and you could smell him coming, but 5 minutes before he walked through that door. He smelled so bad. It was like BO, and just he smelled like he hadn't bathed for 10 years. And it was so bad that my manager, she would smell and go, oh, he's coming. And she would have to go to the back because he was there one time and she threw up. Like she literally vomited because he smelled so bad. And
somebody like that should be barred from coming into a business. So
at GameStop, we weren't allowed to do that until they did something. So it's like, okay. But one day he brought in his PlayStation 2 PlayStation 3. That tells you how long ago it was since I've worked it. Yeah. He brought in his PlayStation 3. I want to trade this in. All right, whatever. But at GameStop, before you can take in a trade, you actually have to hook it up to the TV that's up in the air and try it. You have to actually make sure it works. Cool. That's what we did. We put it down on the ground, we plug it up, we put it in the thing, we plug it into the TV, we're ready to go, we turn it on, and it whirs, and then roaches. I'm talking hundreds of roaches just come out of this machine. And yeah, my manager actually saw it, came out, ripped the thing out of the wall, chucked it at him, and said, if you ever come back, I'm calling the police. And like he missed it and it broke the PlayStation. He's like, how dare you? You broke my PlayStation. He's like, I don't care. Get the fuck out. It's like
you infested the store with cockroaches.
Yeah, and he called the police. He called the police and they brought in and he was like, she assaulted me. And he was like, what happened? She brought out the camera. She was like, here's exactly what happened. And he was like, sir, did you know that your PlayStation was infested? He's like, well, I mean, my house has them. He's like, well, then you infested this entire place and it has to be fumigated. There's a Chick-fil-A next door. They actually had to shut down Chick-fil-A for a week because of this guy. And he was like, no, you're just not welcome back in this mall anymore. It's like the dude got kicked out of the mall. But
good. Yeah. And inconsiderate.
That Chick-fil-A ended up shutting down because they got infested by the cockroaches. And then once they fumigated that, like mice came in and they have no idea where the mice came from. It's and they think it came from him because he like carried one in or something like that. So it's like
on purpose just to be a dickhead. Oh my God.
I don't know. They think it was maybe on his person because we had seen a rat come out of his jeans before. Well, not a rat, a mouse come out of his jeans before. He was walking and the mouse just ran out. And it was like, how do you not know?
How do you not notice something like
was
that?
Disgusting. And there was like, there would be a few people like, oh, I'll leave him alone. He's probably homeless. No, he wasn't homeless. He had a 3-bedroom home and he was a hoarder. And it was disgusting. And it's like, no, greasy hair.
See, I think you had a perfect nightmare story there.
Yeah, I did, because I forgot about it until right there. I was like, those fucking roaches. I didn't freak out. Everyone else freaked out. It was like, oh my God. And I was like,
I freak out. Oh my God.
bugs don't freak me
roaches?
out. Bugs don't freak me out. I'm cool with it. So like it's just bugs to me. But and like, it was something. Like, I mean, but the nightmare scenario of that job was having to sell pre-orders and subscriptions to magazines, and if you didn't sell a certain amount in a week, you get fired. That was fucking stupid. I hated that job. Fuck you, GameStop. I still don't buy shit from there. Fuck that place.
I don't either.
That place is they're horrible. Like I mean,
terrible to their employees. Terrible.
When Ghost of Tsushima came out, I was really looking forward to Ghost of Tsushima. I went to 3 Targets and 4 Walmarts, and all of them were sold out. I looked it up online. They had 4 copies at GameStop. I went home and ordered it digital. I'm like, no, fuck you. I don't buy from GameStop. That place sucks. I stopped buying from GameStop when I worked there. My last 2 weeks, a kid brought in 2 boxes of video games. He had, I counted them at 63 PlayStation 2 and 3 video games. They were going to give him $12. And I was like, done. I'm out. No, this is bullshit. And he's like, yeah, he had Madden 2002 and he had a bunch of sports games, but still, it's like, you got to give the kids something. He can go to McKay's down the road and get like $90 for this. So that's what I told him. I was like, kid, don't do this. Don't take that $12. Go to McKay's in West Knoxville and trade your shit in and get like $60, dude. Like, go do that. He did. He ended up going back, and he came back, and his mom thanked me, and she was like, he got $93 for all of that. And I'm like that's because GameStop likes to take it, bend you over, and shove it in your ass. Fuck GameStop. I hate that place.
Yeah.
Anyway, now you work at a bank. You probably have shit.
Well, bank stuff I can't talk about. It's kind of like the doctors and nurses. You can't disclose anything. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. But some of my worst jobs one was when I was a waitress. Yeah, actually, if I should have been a stripper, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now.
I've seen it. You should have been a stripper.
I have no confidence in being in the nude or the buff, so I am not Lynette Quigley. Damn it!
But I have to say, my wife's a waitress, and she has yet to have a bad story. So I can't wait to hear this one so I can tell her.
I had a bad boss.
Oh, so she's never had
it was a local business at the small town I was in. I can't call it by the business name because otherwise you'll know exactly where I grew up, and I really don't live far from my hometown. So, just a local family restaurant, and the man who owned it, she was. Should have had alcohol. Maybe it would have been better. But I was still in high school at the time. I was 17. It was one of my first jobs. And back then, I did not have the personality I have now. I was very shy, very reserved. And this guy was just an asshole. And I remember me and one of the other girls that worked there, like some of the stuff that he would yell at us about was that the one time she was cleaning a countertop and she was taking the rag and she was trying to like sweep everything into her hand so that she could throw it away. And he came over and he started screaming at her. And he's like, what are you doing? You're wasting time doing that. He's like, just take it and just scrub down the tabletop. And he's like, then just take a broom in that and sweep it up. He's like, you're wasting our time right now. And just went up. She literally started crying because he was yelling at her that much because she couldn't wipe down the tabletop correctly.
And her method was far more efficient.
more superior. Yeah,
Yes.
which she was just gonna like get everything in her hand, throw it away, and then she was gonna scrub it down because I'd watched her do it before, and I'm like, that's brilliant, that's smart. I'm gonna do that. Well, then after I started screaming at her, I'm like, well, I'm never gonna do that in front of him. So one of the times that he decided that he was going to start yelling at me about something really, really stupid was that I was making a hot chocolate and I was just stirring it. You know, the normal stir, like in a circle. He came over and yelled at me and he's like, "You're not whipping it right. That's not how we make hot chocolate here." And I'm just like staring at him like, "Well, how am I supposed to stir?" And he's like, he like grabs it out of my hand and he's like, "You whip it like this. You whip it. See how frothy it gets like this." And then he shoves it back in my hand. So it's like this hot chocolate gets all over me. And he's like, "Start all over again," and walks away. And I'm just sitting there like, "Ow." Only 17. I don't know how to defend myself in any way or form back then. And it gets to the point where I remember the one day that I was working, that it was the cook and two of the waitresses ended up walking out that day because this guy just being an ass to be an ass. Oh no, it was a waitress, it was a cook, and the disher, the guy that would do all the dishes and that. So what had happened was that me and the cook were talking in between the window because of course with the local businesses you had the window that you would go up and you'd get the food and that and receive, or you put your orders up there. Well, I had one of the blue plate specials or whatever. So when I went up to the window, I was the cook was asking me, he's like, "Hey, we just ran out of this one item. Would you be able to check with the customer and see if they'd be willing to substitute for something else, no extra charge?" And he was in the middle of explaining this to me. So it's 100% work related. And he was, of course, going down a list of a few different items that could be an option for this blue plate special. The boss, seriously, so even in front of customers and this kind of bullshit, he came up behind the cook while in the kitchen and just starts yelling at both of us and belittling us. And he's like, "I don't have time for you two to be flirting with each other in between the window and that." He goes, "I need you people to be working right now. Like, stop fraternizing in the workplace, blah, blah, blah." And I literally looked at him and I'm like, we're talking work related. And all of a sudden you just see the cook and the boss like yelling at each other. And it's like they're full yelling and screaming at each other in front of all these customers and that. And I just walk away. I'm like, I'm just gonna leave right now and go
Leave this
talk to the
blast area.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll just go talk to the customer and bring up the blue plate special thing for what little of the list I was able to get. Come back. Something's not right. And I see the boss, all of a sudden he's in the back of the kitchen and he's just throwing things, throwing a tantrum. Hear what had happened when he had thrown his little temper in that. And when the cook flat out looked at him and said, he's like, "We were talking work related and business, and how dare you," left. One of the other waitresses who witnessed it, she also left. And the disher who was in the back of the kitchen, he also left. So 3 employees in one day all just left at the same time because this guy's a complete asshole. And yeah, so then he ended up having to be cooking for that. It was shortly after that that I gave my 2 weeks notice. I at least didn't walk out on the business. I should have.
I
I
will.
should have said fuck it and just did. But of course, I was raised by a mother that was like, "No, you have to be the adult and the bigger person, and you have to do the 2 weeks notice and that kind of stuff." But I, I got my revenge
I've
close
always
to like
been,
my last day.
yeah. I've always been a
um,
person that's like, they aren't going to give you 2 weeks when they fire you. So why should I
yeah,
give you two
no,
weeks when I quit?
yeah,
So I
and
rarely give 2 weeks notices. I'll give 2 weeks notices if I like the person, but if I just don't like the person or the job sucks, I'm like, out.
I don't know. But I would get even because there was a point in time that he would get some of his food for his break and he set his plate down, and it was in the back counter of the kitchen area, and he had set his plate down and he had walked away. Nobody else was in the kitchen, it was just me. So I went and licked his toast.
Yeah, he probably enjoyed it. He probably was like, that's yeah.
Ooh, this toast is
No,
extra
that's-
nice today.
I
Why
can't,
is so sweet?
I can't say that I've ever had like a terrible boss like that. Like I had one where I worked that used to actually come in and spy on us to make sure we're doing our job. And I
Like
caught
that
her every
stupid
time.
show of Undercover Boss or whatever.
And I caught her every time. And I was like, dude, I'm just going to call the district manager if you don't stop this. This is ridiculous and it's stalking. And she was like, no, I'm just making sure you're doing your job. And I like called the district manager and he called her. He's like, you really need to quit doing that. And she didn't. So I ended up calling the police. Like, she's stalking us. And the police came in and like, are you like, do they know you're here? No. Well, I have to make sure they're doing their job. Ma'am, that's stalking. It's like, you can't do that. If he wants to press charges, you're screwed. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to press charges. I kept the job for a year after that. And she was just like, she was much easier to work with after that. But
I would imagine.
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't gonna let people treat me like crap. I don't get disrespected. Like if you disrespect me, things are gonna happen. I'm a very smart person, so I'll find a way to make it work. I mean, the district manager told me it was a jewelry store. The district manager told me that no straight man will ever run a jewelry store because I was assistant manager and I was trying to move up. And the manager quit. And I was like, hey, now's my time. And he was like, no straight man will ever run this jewelry store. And I was like, oh, is that so? Better Business Bureau? Like, yeah, I was just discriminated against. He was fired the next day. I'm like, yeah. I don't play this shit. Because they were like, I was like, I will call a lawyer and I will sue the shit out of you for discrimination. And they were like, oh no, don't worry about that. And they actually gave me the promotion and then fired him. I'm like, I don't know. I don't get disrespected. I don't play that shit. But Michaela, like, she's one of those rare people who gets, like, even she worked at Walmart and we know Walmart. Me and you know Walmart. And
yeah, just a little bit.
Her bosses were awesome at Walmart. They gave her any day she wanted off, everything that she wanted. She got raises all the time. Like they were wonderful to her. They treated her great. Near the end, whenever everything switched around, when they took away some of the upper level, like what are they called now? They're not called assistant managers. Like
they're coaches or whatever.
Yeah, when they started when they started that's when they started treating her bad and she left. And she went to, but she's one of those people that gets a bump up. Like her old boss, she's a waitress now. She used to have to color her hair normal colors. It had to be blonde, brown, black, something like that.
She found out something wonderful recently, though.
Yeah. And her boss, then she loved him. She didn't care about that. He was super nice, gave her all the days off she wanted. It was all great. And he's like, hey, I'm moving to Bristol. And there's going to be someone new coming in. She's like, oh no, I'm going to be led by an asshole now. The dude came in. She's like, the first day, she's like, so can I like color my hair weird colors just to see what he would say? And he was like, you weren't allowed to do that before? She was like, wait, what? He's like, no, he was like, this is an all-inclusive restaurant. You can do whatever the hell you want. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? And 3 days later, now she has bright orange hair. So she's just like, yeah, let's go. So I
love it. It looks so good on her.
That's her crazy color. She's one of the few people. I'm not a big fan of vivid colors in hair. I'm just not. I like the natural hair color, but she is one of the very few that can rock the hell out of that. Like, I'm not a big fan of the shaving the side of the heads and swooping it over and stuff like that either, but she wears
she
that.
She can pull it off.
Like, how does she do that? Like, she's taking
personality.
Yeah, well, she's taken all of the things I hate
that you can't stand, and now you love me.
Working. I'm like, God dang, it looks awesome. She could probably rock blonde hair, and I would even like it. And I don't like blondes, so it's like she could probably do it. I'm like, actually, no, she can because I've seen her with blonde hair. Well,
she technically was blonde just before she started dyeing it too. So.
Yeah, sort of. Like she was blonde when we went to Virginia last because she had her hair dyed. And she was like, I don't care about the color. I'll just go swimming and it'll fade out into brown, her natural hair color. No, it faded out to the bleach color. So her hair was bleach blonde and it was blonde. And I was like, this kind of looks good. And she was like, I hate blonde hair. I'm going to. So she did. She got home and she dyed it blue. So, all right. But I don't know, man. I've been lucky to not have a lot of nightmare experiences in jobs. So
That obviously was my worst experience, but like I said, it was because of the fact that the boss was a terrible, horrible person. And obviously that restaurant failed because shortly after I gave my 2 weeks notice, I want to say it would have been, God, it had to have been like fall when I gave my 2 weeks notice. Around that winter time, this is one of the funniest ones I'd ever heard of, that the rest of the waitresses that were all there to say that they quit. It was in the middle of the winter time, took all their work clothes because we had to wear specific work clothes for that job, soaked it in water, and then plastered it all over the windows. So they froze overnight. So then when he came in the morning to unlock, they had an I quit sign with all of their frozen shirts to the window of the business. And I'm like, that's awesome.
bunch of savages in this town. That's if anyone gets that reference, that'll be amazing. I want to see some comments to see people getting that reference. But, it's like, I don't know. I've never quit in a spectacular way either. I just stopped showing up. So, I mean, Laszlo quit in a pretty great way. I have a picture of it. I should have sent it to you, but he gave him a card. His 2 weeks notice was a greeting card that said "Sorry for your loss," and he had two suckers in it. He like handed it to him. That's how he quit Planet Fitness. Like, sorry for your loss. Yeah, he's a good dude. He needs to buy his damn ticket to KFW so we can go on the 30th. I've already got my ticket. So I'm like, dang, dude.
This is his reminder to buy his ticket.
He'll get it. He will, because he ain't gonna miss out seeing an ECW original. Ain't no way. Oh well. But yeah, it's so I guess
obviously I figured out my light. I think it's the outlet. I think she's as I dropped my light.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
I think the outlet got fried. So
oh well.
I need to pick up my light.
All right. Next time. The next one, I'm going flat out for Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. The Dawn of the Dead remake, because I love that movie. I haven't seen it in probably 8 years, but it's
probably been 10 plus for me.
I used to watch Modern Family a lot. It's not a particularly funny show, but it's kind of heartwarming, and I need something to melt the cold ice around my heart. But it has Ty Burrell. The Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead has Ty Burrell, and I love that guy. And he plays the dad in Modern Family. So whenever I start watching Modern Family, I'm like, oh, I remember that guy as the asshole from Dawn of the Dead. It's like, he was an asshole. But it has some great shots. To me, it is Zack Snyder's best film, bar none, not even close. So I love it. And then after that, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think? What are we watching?
I kind of want to do one of those Ethan Hawke films that we brought up, and
which one?
I would love to do Daybreakers, but I've actually never seen Sinister.
Oh shit! Yeah, fuck yeah, Sinister. Yeah, we're gonna do Sinister.
So we can do Sinister and do the first time watch and that, and obviously I would like to do the first time watch with you, and if we can do it with Michaela and Nate, that'd be even better. So
we can get them together. No, that's a hard one, because Thursdays we're going to go see Escape Room Tournament of Champions. So
yeah,
I have no idea, but yeah, we'll get it earlier in the week. But yeah, dude, Sinister's where it's at, man. I love that movie. I made the mistake of that was the third or fourth movie I had Michaela watch as a horror, and that was a mistake because she did not want to watch a horror movie for weeks. She was like,
That
"This is
one, I hear how dark
terrifying."
it is.
She was like, "This is fucking terrifying. I don't like this." I've had her watch The Descent too, and she didn't like it. She said it's too scary. She's like, that's too scary. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Well, we'll have to watch that one sometime too. Just
But you
so we
hate
have
that
our
one.
opposite. I know they have our
Yeah.
opposite commentary with that. That would go in the lines of the
Yeah,
ones I don't like, but you love it.
I do. I love I love it, but you love Juno, and she was a cheating bitch.
I don't love Juno. It misconception here. I love how her character is a fighter and a survivor, and for how
And an
she got.
adulterer.
If one of the creatures had gotten her, fine, whatever. But to have someone who was her best friend,
Who she cheated on her husband with.
if she would have
Okay.
done it in real life, she would have been a murderer. So
Okay. So you're telling me that one of your friends can sleep with your husband and you're not gonna fucking care?
well, I'm not gonna murder her. How about that?
I don't believe that. I think you will murder her.
No.
Because I was about to
No.
say, if you don't care, I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that hit.
Where's that music coming from?
You're
Is
like
that you?
I ain't got no music. You're like Google Chrome, man. You've got 6 tabs open, and where the hell's that music coming from? I ain't got no
It's
music.
probably my husband behind the door.
Probably.
Is that
He's probably like, let's party. He's wanting to party.
you, son of a bitch?
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, yeah. So, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead is gonna be next. That's gonna be our.
Yes.
It's
I'm
one of my
ready for
favorites. I love it. Unrated version. Make sure to try to get the unrated version because it's
Yeah,
got
you would mention that before.
Yeah,
And
it's,
then I will end up with Sinister. So
yeah, this isn't Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead isn't like immensely different in the unrated version, but the unrated version does have a little more intensity to it. So
okay.
yeah, you got to do that. So yay. Okay. Well, you can do your thing now.
Do my thing. You mean our exit, which
Yeah,
you always do.
you're better at that than I
too.
am. I can't.
Okay, fine,
I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. Stop watching me. I'm trying to get naked and take a
No.
shower.
No, it's Saturday. Go enjoy it. Well, technically, when we're seeing this,
Sunday.
it's Sunday.
Go to church.
Be
You guys need
Senator
Jesus.
Sunday.
You need Jesus.
You all need Jesus.
You need Jesus.
Anyway,
Y'all
thank you
need
for
cheeses.
joining us again on our little channel of horrors here. I am once again your host, Chelsea Lux. You can find me on my Twitter for Chelsea Lux with 3 X's or on my Instagram, Chelsea87. And DC, where can they find you?
Death Curse Pod. That's all you're gonna get. That's on Twitter. Because I talk to Laszlo on Instagram and that's about it. Because
It's the only one that's important, right?
it's like I talk to Laszlo, like we have 3 different ways we talk. We have DMs on Twitter, DMs on Instagram, or text message. And all depending on what meme or video he's sending me, that's how we decide. Like if it's an Instagram video, it's on Instagram. If it's a Twitter, it's on Twitter. If it's just something he downloaded, it's on text message. So it's like I have had a Twitter DM from him and followed by an Instagram DM followed by a text message. So it's happened before. Friends.
God, that sounds like us almost. Almost.
We haven't DM'd each other in like 6-7 months or something like that. I don't know.
We don't need to DM each other though.
I don't open my DMs anymore. Like I haven't actually opened my DMs. My DMs, I have like 4 or 5 notifications and I haven't even opened them. I'm like, I don't care. Like I don't want to talk to people because I know what it is. It's a group chat, and the group chat I'm in, I don't want to be a part of. So I'm just gonna, yeah, none of them watch this. So yeah, that's kind of why I don't want to be a part of it. This is like they don't care.
Like, thanks for supporting us,
Yeah.
buddy.
I have nothing in common with these people. All they talk about is drinking.
Why are you in the group then?
Someone pulled me into it. I tried to escape and she pulled me back in, and I was like, then I'll just ignore everybody. So like, I don't care. But no. I get some DMs and I'm like, I don't even answer them. I'm like, I mean, I'll look at them, and if it's someone that might be important, then I'll open it. But I'm like Sarah or something. I'm like, oh yeah, that might be.
Well, I would hope so. Yeah, you better answer Sarah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, she's all right. She's my mom. Can't help it.
Mhm.
She's me and
Otherwise,
times mom.
otherwise, your bro Stabby's gonna come after you if you don't answer mom. So
He'll be happy. He'll be like, good. He's not the golden boy anymore.
I
My
love
ghost
it.
hunting
I love
videos.
it.
I'm like, dude, I got ghost hunting.
Oh my god, if we all could do a a ghost series together, that would be so much fun.
I got the new one. The new one came out and I added a new character. He's wearing the cowboy hat.
Okay, I need to, but to see, I'm so behind because I wasn't on Twitter at all yesterday. So except for the one post I did. So
God, I posted this 3 days ago, but you haven't
oh
been
my
on.
god, I haven't really been on this
No,
week, have I?
you haven't been on in about 4 days. I mean, like Cassie even left Twitter since you came back, or since you've been on there.
Wait, she left? Why?
Yeah. My simp sis.
We'll have to continue this conversation after we end this episode that we've been trying to end for like how
We
long?
can't help it. We just keep talking. Okay.
Well,
here.
we love you all very, very much. We love you so much. Thank you for
it.
joining us.
You're supposed to do that with your whole boob, with the nipple in the middle.
There's the heart right there. There, you can see the heart. There.
See what I do
with
for
my
you
shirt.
guys? I get her to show her
Okay.
boobs for you guys. Take that. Yeah, don't forget what your boy DC does for you. I'll press the button. Okay.
All right.
Bye. Oh no, it went away.